Music, cheese, and my family. Bluey. Absolutely. Me and my wife actually encourage our girls to watch it so we can watch it. I love how psychotic Morgan is, and I love how sweet Epperson usually is. I love watching them explore and discover, and I love watching them lose their mind. Especially like the more authentic and the more weird tasting it is, the more it tastes like a foot, the more I like it. Genetics and learned experience. Dogs. Beach. Waffles. Eggs. Fried. No, you don't need cheese on a fried egg because there's yolk. That is liquid gold.
Matthew 7, 16 through 18. You will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? So every healthy tree bears good fruit, but the diseased tree bears bad fruit. The healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can the diseased tree bear good fruit. I'd like to talk to you this evening about seeds. I grew up in eastern Kentucky and had my first sip of beer when I was 5, first cigarette when I was 9, first joint when I was 11, first pain pill when I was 15, and it just gets blurry from there. I've been chemically dependent for as long as I can remember. My parents were my friends, they weren't my parents. They needed more from me than they were willing to give me. By the time I was 11 years old, I was raising my mama. And unfortunately, I thought that when I looked at my dad, I thought he was Superman. He was my hero. I had no idea how many times both of them would break my heart. I've forgiven both of them and I love them deeply. I understand that they could never give what they didn't have. Steve was talking earlier about the cycle of poverty, crime, and dependency. He's talking about me. He's talking about my dad. He's talking about my family. I went to college at a young age. I was 17, and I went after missing 5 years of public education just because I was gifted with a strong brain. I went to college to seek my own will and to please myself. So I embraced my addictions to alcohol, drugs, and pornography and sex. Man, I leaned into it. I got kicked out of college because of many reasons, one of which being the marijuana seeds they found in my freezer. Seeds. I went back to live with my dad. This was the first time I lived with him. My parents were divorced when I was 3, so I grew up living with my mom. Lived with him for about 6 months, and it wasn't terrible. I had an opportunity to go to Florida and was supposed to be an aviation mechanic. That didn't work out, but hey, they got drugs in Florida. So I was good for a couple of years. Florida chewed me up and spit me out, and I landed smack dab on a construction site against my will. That was miserable. 110-degree heat, withdrawing from opiates. Gross. After 2 years there, I had to retreat back to Kentucky. I hitched a ride with some family, ended up back at my dad's house, and guess what? He was back on meth, which meant I was now on meth. It was free, it was available, and I couldn't say no. Spent another 6 months there, the worst 6 months of my life. My cousin Rachel came to see me. Me and her grew up like brothers and sisters. She's always been close. We're the same age. She saw how I looked, how skinny I was, how sunken in my eyes were. She went and told her parents, and they felt like God wanted them to give me an opportunity for something different. My uncle had just recently met Tim Queener here at the program, and thought that it would be perfect for me. So he calls me one day, and he's a stoic guy. Me and him never had a really tight relationship, and I don't like white people anyway. They're hard to figure out. But he called me, and I was ashamed to even talk to this man because I knew how bad I was messing up, and I knew how godly of a man he was, and how strong and pure of a man he was. And I knew how weak and addicted and shameful of a man I was. But he called me and told me, you're going to come live with us. You're going to go through this program, and you're going to live with us until you're accepted, until you try out and you get in. And I said, okay. And that day I quit smoking meth. That was the first time in my life that I saw that I had a brighter future. My uncle had given me hope. He had given me a way out. So for the next 3 weeks I spent in Kentucky, I didn't smoke any more meth, except for the going away party my dad threw me. Thanks, Dad. And when I came to Tennessee, everything was new and different and uncomfortable. But that's where I learned at the program, living with my aunt and uncle, I learned that submitting to someone else's plan was the way out. Submitting to the Bible, submitting to the wisdom of the staff of the program changed my life. My first day at the program, I remember my uncle dropping me off, and I'm just nervous, driving me towards the building, hitting all the speed bumps. 6 of them, there's 6. Every speed bump, the knot in my stomach gets tighter, but when I get there, and I see a bunch of men gathering together, cooking dinner together, cutting up chicken, I feel a calm wash over me. I graduated the program and was placed at ABEC Electric. That stands for America's Best Electrical Contractor. My journey wasn't over. I graduated the program and moved back in with my aunt and uncle and backslid. Started drinking heavily every day, smoking weed again. But ABEC Electric kept me driving forward. That one thing I held on to, I clung to it tightly, and they're greatly responsible for the life I have now. So my aunt and uncle, 413 and ABEC Electric, have changed my life. And now that after I backslid, I went back to the program for a couple of years. I remember having to go back with my tail between my legs. But Richard, the campus life director at the time, said, "Man, I'll put somebody out if we ain't got room. Come on back." So the continued support allowed me to finally find the places and the people that led me to freedom from addiction. I'm now 5 years sober. An environment where I continued to learn about electrical, and I got my journeyman's license and began to teach at ABC school and got to pour out what was poured back into me. And now I have the pleasure of blessing my wife and raising my 2 children, and I'm in seminary. I'm living the dream.
Hey, I wonder if you do me a favor. See those 2 chairs? Go turn them around. Have a seat. There's something I want you to see. Can you all see over us?
I'm Amber Harris. I'm from Spring Hill, Tennessee, and I'm married to Ralph Harris, who came through the program in 2012. I didn't grow up having the same struggles that he did, and I never had to overcome something as great as he did, and so it's just truly inspiring. Just came from so little, and now he's just done so great with it. Like when you partner with God, all things are possible, you know? Excited. Every single aspect of his life, it just turned it around from a horrible trajectory to an awesome one. It just literally saved his life. He's got so much that he's doing for the community, and so much he's doing for the kingdom, and so much that he does for us. Everything that the program instills in men, like, that's just who he is. He's just a 413 strong guy. Like, he's our provider, he's our protector, he just does all this. And I think that's another one of those things that he kind of developed, you know, like in the program. Ralph's like the best dad. He just loves his girls so much. He is setting a really good example for them. And that's actually what he strives for. He's like, I want to be such a good dad and such a good example of a father and a husband that no man will ever be good enough for them, so they'll never get married and they'll just stay at home with us forever. Truly unbelievable what the transformation that they make and do in people's lives.
He's really the best. I want to say I love him.
Y'all, this is what 413 Strong is about right here. Right here. A husband, a father, providing a safe place for his family where they can flourish. Here's someone who broke the mold, and I couldn't be more proud to have you standing right here, to have all these people celebrate what you're doing. Thank you, Ralph.